Welcome to this special edition of our Ask an Elder series. Today is the second in our three-part series featuring the best of our 2020 Ask an Elder interviews. Today's session will feature key moments and takeaways from our Divine Nine interview, along with our featured HBCU discussions to include Cheney, Spelman, and Howard, highlights and reflections. We end this episode with a timely reminder of our past through a candid discussion with President Tawana Jordan on the recent unveiling of the Slave Memorial at St. Mary's College. Without further ado, part 2 of our Best of Ask an Elder.
She's standing and she's walking, and then Ruby Bridges is in the background. I definitely wanted to pull that up for our viewers who have not had an opportunity to see that. But when you all saw that visual, please tell me what came to mind as an African American woman and also as a member of the Divine Nine.
Well, I guess when I saw it, I thought about the struggle continues and progress is slow. But when we all come together, as we've done for years with Martin Luther King, we've been fighting for a long time. And we may think nothing is happening, but it's happening just like with the Lord. We don't see it, but back in the background, it is happening. And so we see some things coming to fruition because the Bible tells us the first shall be last. And I just think that it's our time now, and nothing is going to stop us. Trump can't stop us. He's trying everything, but look at God. That's all I keep saying.
Yes.
And it's just happening. And I think if we can stay together and continue this, don't get so now that we've got a black vice president, we can't stop. We got to continue. But that's kind of what I saw.
All right. Any more responses? What do you see when you see this?
When I took a look at this, I saw several things. First of all, I didn't see Ruby Bridges in the background at first. I just didn't focus on that. I focused on her. She has on her heels, and she's striding as though it doesn't matter what she's walking in, whether it's heels or tennis shoes. I just have the feeling of there's momentum.
Yes.
So the heels tell a story, but also even the length of the pants tell the story. Nothing will stop her to move forward. There's a boldness about the heels and the pants. Also, in her hand is a bag. She has all the tools that she needs to do the work that's ahead. I think that's the bag, the bag holds. She has on her attire is not just female, it could be male, because men are now wearing those short jackets that look almost, so it doesn't matter where she's going, and what she has to do has nothing to do with, or it is not curtailed in any way by her gender. She's serious, it's purpose, and she's looking forward. So I saw the picture of a strong woman.
Yes.
How do you say drop the mic?
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
For me, the picture also displays from whence we came to where we arrived. Because in most of our lifetime, the Ruby Bridges story is just it. And now we see that how far we have arrived. It's not how far we've come, we've arrived. That's what the picture is saying to me. It also says to all of our young ladies that I can do that too. And that's the major lesson that picture is telling me.
I agree with you. This picture shows that we can do anything. Little girls of color can grow up and be strong women and achieve whatever their little heart desires. We can achieve anything because of what we see happening, from Ruby Bridges until Kamala. It's amazing. When I saw this picture, I cried because Who would have thought I would live long enough to see a Black president and a future vice president-elect who will eventually become president? This is our future, and it is going on, and it's continuing, and we are going to be successful in everything that we do. We just have to keep that faith, because we can do it. Nothing can stop us now. Nothing.
The next question. The presence of the African American sororities and fraternities. So when I don't know about you all, but when I got word that she was a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, and then I saw that she attended Howard. I mean, all of this pride just ignited within me as far as a member of a sorority, and then attending a HBCU. Facebook groups just started to come up everywhere. D9 plus HBCU. I mean, it was just like, which one do you join? I must ask you, ladies, when you saw that she would be a part of the Biden administration, talk to me a little bit about the pride that ignited within you. What feelings, what were your initial thoughts and feelings that you would like to share?
My initial thoughts, I was excited when he chose her to be his running mate. And I continued that excitement. But when she gave her acceptance speech and she said, my family, Alpha Kappa Alpha, HBCU, and she went on, my heart just burst, because it's letting people know that we are women of color and we come from HBCUs and we belong to Divine Nine, but we are special, intelligent, caring women, people. We're just that way. But to let others know, it's just amazing to me. My heart is full. I mean, I talk so fast because I'm so excited.
Yes, ma'am.
Even now, just seeing her, and after the election, whenever they said they won, I ran around my house. I couldn't go outside because where I live, I'm the only brown person in this block, in this, I guess, to my area, where they all had Trump signs. So I had to kind of stay in the house and just run from room to room and cry and shout and say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, thank you, thank you for doing this. Thank you. I'm just overwhelmed. But I am so happy that he chose her, because she can carry on when he cannot. And I think that's one of the reasons why he selected her. She's intelligent. She speaks well. She's all the things that you would want in a woman. But what makes her special, she's a woman of color, HBCU graduate, and a Divine Nine member. So he did the best. He chose the right person that when he's weak, she'll be strong. Like Michelle Obama says, when they go low, we'll go high.
Yeah.
Well, I was very, very excited also, and I'll make mine short, but I can remember April when I was at Houston Tillotson and travel, even when I worked in the district. And when they said Houston Tillotson, is that in Houston? Wait, I never heard of it. Oh, I got so sick of that. Now everybody knows about HBCUs and they know what we're capable of. And I think it's going to give us a lot more visibility with our HBCUs, and I'm excited about that. Among all the other things she just said, but they will know who we are finally.
Yeah.
Even though our enrollment is up with Asians, Hispanics. Our whole baseball team is Hispanic. So, but I was excited about that. Finally, they're going to know about HBCUs. Joe Reed on Rita on NBC.
Joy.
Yeah, she talks about the Divine Nine and the AKAs, and so
Yes,
they
you
know,
do.
yes, they know who we are finally, and they will know Houston Tillotson University, not located in Houston, Texas. So I'm excited.
I think the thing for me that was so impactful was that when he named Kamala Harris on that night, Divine Nine raised $4 million
Yes.
before 12 o'clock.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so I was elated that finally we can get to see our impact on the global stage.
Mhm.
She is a person that's quite capable that, okay, we all always are,
Yes.
but we are now able to demonstrate that to ourselves and them for our HBCUs. Others than us found out long time ago that our HBCUs had was putting out the potential of great people.
Amen.
So you know what they did? They started going to our schools. Okay, so they
Yeah.
know we are there.
Yeah.
You understand? Because then they started coming to our schools.
Uh-huh.
I am just at this time and in this space at my age, happy that we can show it to them and ourselves.
Yeah.
In other words, that backseat stuff that you try to, the narrative that they give us, as if there's something wrong with us in HBCU. Okay, whoa, you don't have that excuse. That's not one that you can bring us anymore. You know what I'm saying? And now, economically, educationally, we now know how far we've come.
Right.
That's what Kamala Harris did for us.
And
Hold up, here's another thing that nobody thought of. Okay, when we first started in the workplace, they kept talking about the glass ceiling.
Uh-huh.
It's
Okay,
broken.
Kamala broke the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
Nobody said
Yeah.
anything about that yet, but Kamala broke the glass ceiling. And she looked like me. I'm good. I'm so good.
I love it.
I give credit to Kamala for something that she did. It wasn't loud, but it was heard. She used the word divine nine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, that didn't
Yes,
mean
she
a lot
did.
to a lot of people, but it meant a lot to us. We knew exactly what she meant.
What she
Yeah.
was
So
talking
you're
about.
right, Mary Elizabeth Martin Blackman. That was a message to our people. So
Yeah.
Yes,
that
it
somebody would
was.
say, oh, well, she's an AK. No,
Mm-mm.
no.
No,
Okay.
no.
Our histories are all intertwined with each other. We cannot get away from that.
Right.
So it's like, okay, we're here. She didn't say I'm here. When she said that, she said we are here.
We're here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like during the slavery, they in the cotton fields, they sang, and you knew exactly what they were talking. That's how they communicated.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
like Mary said, when she said divine nine, we knew exactly what
We
she
knew
was
exactly.
talking
Yes,
Exactly.
everybody.
That's right. And we did.
Yes,
Wow,
before
lady.
12 o'clock that night, the divine nine. I paid 19.20. I'm sure you paid 19. You see what I'm saying? Before 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
$4 million. We are now seeing our economic value and our voting value when we coalesce around a single purpose.
Right. And we have to take that same thing into the Georgia runoff.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Tell
Mitch
everybody you
McConnell needs
know.
to lose his. Oh, can I share this, guys? Excuse me for interrupting you.
No.
Because here's how government works. If we secure these two Democratic, I'm in Lithonia, Georgia, 8 miles from Atlanta. If we secure these two seats, what it will force is Mitch McConnell will no longer be the Senate leader.
Oh, whoop, whoop.
He loses his job. Okay,
Yes.
we're going to make that happen. Okay,
Yes.
now, and then number two, if there comes up a tie in the Senate, guess who get to break it?
Yes.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Yep.
Kamala. Absolutely.
Hey,
Absolutely.
don't it work?
Yes.
Love it.
That's
And
right.
won't he do it?
Yes,
Yeah.
we will.
Won't he do it?
Oh, yeah.
Won't he do it?
The
It's
old
beautiful.
saying is together we stand and divided we fall.
I'm glad you asked that. I think it goes beyond the election.
Okay.
The I think the death of George Floyd,
Mm,
Breonna Taylor, Aubrey, all have an impact on society. As I said, culture is a creation. I think it's heightened or it's brought to light the level of racism that exists in this country. It already existed, but you need a catalyst for change. I've always said, unless there's a significant emotional experience, there's no change.
right.
This country is going through a significant emotional experience that's going to drive change. The trick is to make this change beneficial to all people. You know, when we talk about everyone being a part of this society and having their rightful place, I think that what it's done is it's spurred the diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda. It's resurfaced it. As I said, it started back in the 60s. It's back to light. And I do see, particularly with some of the initial initial interest from corporate America, et cetera, some interest in change.
Right.
I'm one that's from Missouri. You got to show me.
Exactly.
It's got to be sustained. It's got to be sustained. If this is not sustained, it will make us go backwards.
Right.
Can't afford that. So I am encouraged by what has happened, and it's happened in an environment of a pandemic, social unrest, all the negative things that can happen are happening. But I believe in making lemonade out of lemons. We've got a lot of lemons right now that we have the opportunity to make lemonade out of. And we have an obligation to each other and to this country to do some things that will make this a equitable and fair place for everyone. And it's part of the HBC's role to do that because we were established because we were disenfranchised.
Right.
And to a large degree remain disenfranchised.
That's true.
Still not had a diverse, equal, and inclusive society. We still suffer from economic insufficiency in our communities. We have to get out of that economic insufficiency cycle. And it's going to be aided by education. So HBCUs will become even more relevant in the future because they represent choice. If you don't have choice, you have to go in one direction.
Exactly.
A choice for a number of people, including yourself, who may not have had an opportunity to go to school had there not been a Cheney.
So, you know, it's been said, particularly over the last several weeks, but we certainly saw this in the midterm elections, that Black women tend to be the ones that turn the tide for things. And in this case, it's said that a Black woman from Spelman helped get out the vote in a city run by a Black woman from FAMU to push a ticket with a Black woman from Howard over the top.
Right.
So what impact do you think the visibility of Stacey Abrams will have, along with Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms and Vice President Kamala-elect will have on the dreams and futures of young people, particularly young girls of color?
I really hope that it lets young girls see what they can be. I mean, when Barack Obama was elected, it allowed young boys to really understand that you can grow up to be president. I mean, as a child, that's what I was told and my classmates, but I never really believed it because I didn't see anybody who looked like me as president in all the history books and the current president. So it's not something that I can necessarily believe. But when Obama was elected, I think young boys could say, wow, you really can do this. And now young girls will really be able to say the same, even though Harris is just is vice president. That's That's irrelevant. It's a high office. It's one of the highest offices. So I think young girls should be able to see that it really is possible. I really can do anything because she looks like me, and why not? Why not?
I mean, I'm not by any means a fortune teller, but I can't imagine that Kamala Harris will stop at just vice president.
No.
So.
No, she already wanted to be president, so I'm sure
Absolutely.
she'll run, definitely.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think two things that sort of come to mind as when we're talking about, the impact and influence of this on young girls. And I have the picture in my hall that is may her first steps be towards Spelman, and it's a little girl in her little sailor dress,
right,
walking to Sister's Chapel.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that I see, it's like, it's you start with your greatness at Spelman, and then and then I see the image of Kamala Harris and the little girl in the mirror, and then there's the other Kamala Harris and one of the Little Rock,
the Ruby Bridges.
Yes, with Ruby Bridges. Thank you. I don't know why I had a blank with that. But it's just, you see, those images have such a powerful presence and so impactful at this point. And, little girls, like, maybe don't realize just what that means right now. But I know for us looking at them, it's like there's so much promise and there's so much that you can do. And, representation matters. I think that's the big thing. Representation matters. And the more we see people who look like us, doing really big things, that really impacts how people see themselves and see their potentialities. And I think that's so important. And the other image that always sticks in my head is when Barack Obama's in the Oval Office with the little boy that's rubbing his head.
Yes,
like, you have hair like mine.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
And again, that's, who knows what kind of influence that moment had for that little boy. I mean, obviously we were like, oh my goodness, but like what that did for him.
Sure.
Say, I was in the Oval Office with the President of the United States. Maybe one day I will be in the Oval Office.
That's
as
right.
President of the United States.
Because it's possible now.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
My next question is, what do you think the impact of Senator Harris being the vice president-elect, and fingers crossed, prayerfully, they enter easily into office this coming January, what will be the long-term effects on HBCUs, not only for Senator Harris's visibility, but the visibility of Stacey Abrams, Keisha Lance Bottoms, and of course, Senator Harris, all three women being HBCU alums and having a very visible, productive, successful year this year?
Triple effect from them. That was, a triple effect. It speaks volumes, Malik, in so many ways. It shows that HBCU institutions are stellar and prepare its graduates well to assume any position that they aspire to, given a level playing field. That's often our challenge. We don't have the same access or opportunities, but we have the intellect and the skills and just the wherewithal to get the job done. And it's definitely a great role model for young girls with the election of Senator Harris as VP-elect. I don't know if you all saw these news reports, but so many little girls for their Halloween or trick-or-treat costume, they had on their pantsuit, and then they had on their Ruth Bader Ginsburg and robe and everything, because they see, that it's like a cliche, if you see it, you believe it, you can achieve it. So it's great for that.
I think we've already seen the results, especially in terms of young men going into sports. A couple of the big football players that would have gone to, the big white institutions have chosen to go to your Howards or your Morgans. And so I think that's a good thing. Also, always hear folks that have not attended HBCUs talk about the lack of diversity, and it's a second-class education, and it was needed back then, but now we need to be, we need to be able to deal in the white man's world, and so I don't understand why they're still relevant. But they are so misguided, because there's so much diversity in an HBCU. I met Black folks from all over the globe, and you meet Black folks of all ethnicities, as well as, rich Black folks. I had never really seen a whole lot of rich Black folks until I got to Howard. You had folks that, their great grandparents, were college educated, which means that they were wealthy then, and had still chosen to come to an HBCU. And so there's diversity, there's nurturing. And I sent both of my children to HBCUs because I knew that they needed to be nurtured. And in fact, I sent them to the South, the deep South, because I believe that there's a way that you're educated and nurtured in the South that we miss in the North. And I wanted them to have that. And so I put my money 1,000 times over again in an HBCU, and have done so by taking young people on college tours to HBCUs for the last 22 years.
Carol said something of how she mentioned how there are some folks who don't value, the HBCU education because of the perceived lack of diversity. But I also have a lot of friends who are jealous, who did not go to HBCUs, they went to predominantly white institutions. And they actually are jealous of the kind of community and solidarity and indeed love, that we have for each other. And they're not afraid, to say to me that they missed having gone to, a predominantly white institution. And the other thing I would say, to your question about, Stacey Abrams and Keisha Lance Bottoms, her father, of course, was Major Lance. I'm old enough to remember Major Lance. Her father was an R&B singer. And of course, Kamala, they demonstrate the passion for service and justice that I think, you gain from I know I gained from going to Howard University,
That's
a passion
right.
to serve others, the passion to serve your community, because those jobs are often thankless jobs. Being in those elected positions, you don't get rich off of those positions. And that, and if you look at the challenges, particularly that, Keisha Lance Bottoms has had dealing with the pandemic, there in Georgia, she gets a lot of face time, but there's a lot of short, challenges that most people wouldn't want to have. So again, that's the passion for serving others that I think is the real deal at HBCUs.
And I would just add that I think we can say with their examples of Kamala and Keisha and Stacey and Raphael Warnock, we're not settling for anything by going to an HBCU. We're not less than anybody else who goes to a predominantly white institution because of us attending an HBCU. We are capable. We come out prepared. We get a solid foundation from an academic standpoint. We know how to interact with people. We have the diversity of knowledge, skills, and experience and practicality. We've earned a seat at the table. And I believe all of them have shown that. We have earned a seat at the table.
We also have learned, Janine, that if there is not a seat at the table, that we bring our own seat and just move on in and do what we have to do.
Absolutely.
We're resilient. We're resilient.
Absolutely. And nobody needs to hand anything to us.
That's right.
When we attend an HBCU, we laugh about the tough times of having to deal with the A building and financial aid and all that kind of stuff. But the totality of the experience that we have, the totality of the rigor of the academics, of the professors who care about you, but also won't let you get away with anything because you are going to get your assignments in, but they're going to care enough to get to know the person. But the sometimes the challenges that you deal with the A building, those are things that you lean on in life when you are dealing with somebody in a work environment too.
Perseverance.
You know, nothing that you experience at an HBCU won't benefit you.
And I just want to add on the way we describe in my generation, and I want to know if it's the same for you all, the language we use is finesse. Like Howard taught us a particular way to operate socially, I would say primarily in the world. There's a particular finesse, you understand. There's a lot of social politics at HBCU. There's a lot of political politics. People are running for office and people, as you said, we have editors at the Hilltop. So there was a lot of maneuverment and understanding power dynamics and conversation and just socially. I think I really matured at Howard University. And I just want to say, hearing everyone's remarks, I'm really smiling because I also have friends who come out of PWIs and now they're saying they're honorary Bison, or they want to have that shine, you know, because they missed that opportunity. I have friends now who are from Nigeria and have gone back, and I've visited them in Nigeria and Ghana. Like, it's a real world perspective that we were able to have the opportunity to experience. So as I'm only about 4 years out now, I'm already reaping those benefits and looking forward to how these friendships and relationships will continue to grow. So I'm just really smiling at all the responses thus far.
Fisk, that was the best choice I ever made in my life when I think about going to college. And I think that most people, when they look back on their undergraduate years, say that that's the best school ever, right? But when I got to Fisk's campus, I felt like I belong, and I felt like I was on hallowed ground, right? And so you have this small community of people who looked like you. But their experiences were much broader than mine because my family was not well off, right? And so I got to see that there were rich Black people, and there were Black people who had been to Europe and all this other stuff, and it just opened up my eyes. But Fisk, we were a very tight community, and we helped each other out.
Next thing I want to talk about is this new project. So you were looking to build a new stadium complex and you made a discovery. Tell me how you felt about that discovery and what you did, your most recent project.
So I was sad and depressed. And, you know, we probably read in some of these interviews that I had just hoped that St. Mary's College had no hand in slavery. But, you know, if you look at where I am located in the state, it's all over the place. So it's very important to find a way by which we can talk about this part of history, but not in a finger pointing kind of way. Not a woe is me kind of way, but to celebrate their lives, their persistence and perseverance, the impact it's had today and what it means for tomorrow, right? So it was definitely a community effort, not just a team effort. And it was important to give those who were enslaved a voice in the history. And the narrative of this place, I don't know if you've ever been to Southern Maryland, but they talk about the colonists. They talk about the plantation owners. And then, you know, there'd be a Black person that did something and they'll raise that Black person up. It's like, there's a whole bunch of people missing here. How do we connect the dots? And so I think that, you know, one of my VPs says, this is your part of your legacy. And when I think about it, they're exactly right. But I didn't do it with that in mind. It was just that if you're going to be able to connect or correct history,
Right.
you gotta give voice to everyone that was present and then interpret it from that perspective. So I'm really thrilled with the result of that project. This little college down here, I think we've made some good strides here to get that narrative changed. Don't let anyone tell you you can't. How about that? Nobody. Because you know what you can do. And you can actually do things that you didn't even imagine you can do. The fact that you've gotten this far says that it's in you. I used to tell my students, don't hang out with turkeys if you want to soar with the eagles.
This message has been brought to you by the National Black Leadership and Empowerment Project.